Hi and welcome back everyone. Today I'm going to be reviewing a PC case from Sahara Gaming. It's their P480 in black. It's an ATX dual chamber case. I'm going to spill the beans straight away. It's only £90.99 here in the UK. As always, links for this will be down in the description for anyone that's interested in picking one up for themselves. It looks like it's going to be a good one, guys. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a coffee as I walk you through the unboxing, the overview, discuss the good, the bad, and at the end, should you actually buy it? Let's do this. It looks like it's got decent packaging, guys, which means it's going to arrive exactly as they sent it, which is always a good thing. They get bigger, these do, don't they? But like I said, decent box, nicely covered, as you'd expect. Let's get this polystyrene off. So Sahara Gaming, guys, who are they? Well, they're typically known for more budget-orientated products, which is really, really nice. They were previously really well known, especially in their case manufacturing side of things, but for some reason they dropped off the radar, but they're back, and hopefully with a good bang. From a packaging point of view, it was sufficiently done. Not too over the top, but good enough that you know it's going to arrive in one piece, which is good. Decent box, polystyrene either side, nicely covered, and just like you would expect to be honest. And not too much that I've got to go to the dump or the tip straight away because my dustbin is absolutely rammed. Now, on first impression, you might be thinking this is, well, it's just one of them Leon lookalike cases, but don't worry, it's got loads of features and loads of modularity as well. The case itself, it looks quite long on the eye, guys. It is, there's no mistaking that. So before you go ahead and actually pick up one of these, you want to make sure that your desk has ample room and length as well. I'll put the dimensions on the screen as well, but in terms of obviously height, it's 395, it's 245 in terms of width, and it's 535 in terms of length, so quite large. One thing that's drawing my eye is this infinity corner, and that's already an improvement over the O11 and the XL versions as well. You get this tinted glass side panel, which is really, really good. It's going to look amazing if you're decking it out with RGB fans. And it's definitely going to look the business, which is going to look really nice. In terms of the back panel, we've got this full length painted back panel here, guys. And we've got these perforations and mesh cutout, which is to allow an exhaust for the PSU, which is really, really good. In terms of weight, it's not too bad. It weighs just over 10 kilos. When I took it out the box, I didn't get the feeling that it was made from cheap sheet metal. And with that in mind, it's got a really nice paint finish to it as well. The front I/O, it's got everything you're going to need, to be honest. We've got two USB 3s. We've got a USB-C. We've got a headphone and microphone jack. We've also got a power and reset button as well. At the bottom, we've got this full length magnetic dust filter with 4 substantial feet as well, which all have these non-stick or non-slip rubber pads attached, along with the masses of ventilation and options for fan and radiator placements, but we'll touch on that slightly later. We've got a really similar setup at the top as well. It's one full piece with these perforations, allowing for great airflow and fan customization. Now, one of the things I do know about this case is when it comes to the rear, it has got plenty of PCIe covers, which is absolutely fantastic. In fact, 7 in total. This can actually be rotated 90 degrees to allow you to not only horizontally mount your GPU, but vertically mount it as well. Great little touch. The only thing you'll have to buy is a riser cable. It also looks to have an internal power cable or an extension cable as well, guys, because the power supply is actually located at the front of this case, not at the rear, but more on that later. One of the things that Sahara Gaming actually do with this case, guys, it comes in a variety of different cases. So this one, as you can see here, has got this front glass panel, but they also do ones with a full mesh front panel as well. And I'll touch on that a little bit later. And that's a nice alternate variation. So if airflow is your highest priority, Sahara Gaming's got you covered. If you're looking for more of that glass and fish tank look, they've also got you covered, which I think is another good touch. The only thing that I would obviously say is, because there is a number of variations of this case, please make sure that you choose the right one that is going to be the best for you. So if you want the glass fronted one, you need to make sure that you choose the glass one, because obviously it comes with a mesh one as well. Now, the one thing that Sahara Gaming have done is, for this review, they've actually sent me the mesh fronted one as well, because in actual fact, the mesh one is identical to the glass one. And I'll touch a little bit later on in the video how we go about switching these out, and I'll give you a quick look at what the glass one looks like and what the mesh one looks like, because you probably can't see it at the minute, but there is 2 fan mounts at the front of this case, and with that glass panel, does it make sense to do it? Well, that's where this would probably make a little bit more sense. So let's crack on, guys. Let's get this all taken to bits. Let's have a look inside and at the back and see what we can actually do with it. So the first step when we're breaking down this case, guys, is removing the panels. And to open the top panel, all we've got to do is undo this very large thumb screw, which is also captive, which is quite nice. Pull back, and then this top panel can be nicely lifted off. Very nice and easy. Toolless as well, which is quite nice. Next up is our glass side panel. Really, really straightforward, guys. All we need to do is push up from the bottom and slide upwards, and then that is our glass panel fully removed. What I would say to you is just be careful with these. Obviously it is tempered glass, but these lock in place via these 2 tabs on the bottom, which is quite nice. Taking a look at the back of this glass panel, what's nice addition is it is reinforced by these steel bars at the top and bottom, and at the sides we've got these nice foam pads that run the full length of the actual panel, which will remove any noise or vibrations, and B, it just gives you that little bit more added security that if you drop it in place, it's not glass on metal. You have got a little bit of foam and a bit of cushioning when you're taking it out of place as well, which is really, really nice. Next up's our back panel. Same process here for the back as it was the front. Slight slide up from the bottom, and then again, that's our back panel nicely removed. In terms of the back panel, we've got our tabs at the bottom, which keep it nicely in place. We've then got our magnetic full length cover, which is here, filter. These actual 3 screws at the top, which just slide into these slots, which keep it nicely in place as well. This is not just cheap average sheet metal. It is steel. It's painted really nice, so it's got a great finish, and it looks to have all the perforations in the right places as well. So onto the front panels, guys, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky. You're going to have to require a little bit more force than what you think here. So we'll take off the glass piece first, and then we'll take off the metal side piece, because they aren't one solid unit. We need to take off this glass one first. So it does require a slight pull. So it feels a bit weird pulling this, but it has a couple of these little notches that it pulls into or pushes into. So there we go. So that's what I'm on about. These little balls on the back of these steel reinforcements. It weren't as hard as what I thought it was going to be, but just be careful, it is tempered glass. But on the side of here, we've also got these full length foam pads, as well as at the top and bottom as well. So again, nicely done in terms of sound absorption, and you know that you're not going to have any of those rattles as well. And again, that's an improvement over the 011, guys, because mine doesn't have any of that. And when the fans are going full whack, you can hear a slight rattle. Nothing that you couldn't fix quite easy, but it's nice that it's included. Onto the metal part, and it's the exact same process. You can actually, once got the back panel off, just use your fingers and pull slightly, and there we go. And I quite like that, guys. I think now's the optimal time to actually show you the front mesh part. So let's have a quick look at that. But at the front, what you'll see here is it comes with this mount at the front, which can be easily removed by 2 screws at the back here. But I think this would be my optimal choice here, because ultimately I like to have some fans that are coming in from the front, fans that are coming in from the bottom as intake, and then my exhaust at the top and at the rear. This case gives you loads of options, so you've not got an issue there. But in terms of how we go ahead and install this, Well, it's very, very easy, guys. Line it up, click it into place. 5 seconds, you've now got a totally looking new case. And in all honesty, if your airflow optimized and you want to make sure that you're getting the best possible temperatures, then without going into obviously the temperatures, and we will do that in a build video later on, I personally think that this would be the best way of going. Intake at the front, intake at the bottom, exhaust at the top, exhaust at the rear. But that's not to say that I don't quite like the glass, because I do. It's just, if I was going to do it, I would simply remove this bracket at the front, because there's no point, unless you're wanting to put 2 fans at the front there. There's no point, because they're not going to be drawing any fresh air into the case. So in my opinion, I don't quite know, other than aesthetics, what they're actually achieving, but each to their own. Now that we've got all those panels removed, guys, not only is it a damn sight lighter, it's much easier to move around as well. So let's take a look inside. So what do you get in the case? I've took everything out already, guys, and it's quite nice to see that you get quite a detailed instruction manual, which is really, really nice. Great to see loads of diagrams and pictures, and it's straight to the point as well, which is quite nice. We also have an accessory box. Here you get all the required screws, along with a few cable ties, a headphone and mic jack splitter, but we also get 2 additional SSD or hard drive mounts as well. You'll see in the case a little bit later on, you get 3 which are pre-installed, and then these 2 additional ones, which again is a nice touch. So taking a peek inside the case, guys, great to see that Sahara's gone to the extremes of installing 6 or of the 8 or 9 required standoffs. It's a little bit of a pity that they've not installed the actual 3 other standoffs that's going to be required for ATX motherboards. I don't quite understand that. I've just checked the accessory box and they are in there. Great that they've included them. Would have been better if they were installed in the actual case though. This case can house mini ITX, micro ATX, anti-ATX motherboards. So not quite sure on mini ITX boards. I don't think it would look right in this particular size of case. It's the same size as the motherboard cutout, and then it's going to look a little bit lost in here, but it's nice to see that you can put those ITX or ATX motherboards in here. Gives you that option as well. It's nice to see 2 really nice sized grommets, and they seem really, really nice. They're going to actually really help with regards to the cable management. You get 2 which is here, and then there's an additional one which is just on the side of this particular housing here as well. So that's really, really nice. One thing that I would say, and I can totally forgive Sahara Gaming here, because we're talking about a £90 case, guys, here. We're not talking about 150 or a premium costing case. But it would be a great addition to have these 2 cutouts and these 2 cutouts here. If they add those rubber grommets, not only would it just add that little bit more to the actual case, it'd really set it apart from some of the other cases as well. So I get it because of cost, and I don't know how much these are, but when you're making thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of these cases, every penny counts. It would have just been really, really nice. A little bit like the cherry on the top if they had grommets all around, but I can totally understand why. Also, guys, I'm not quite sure how I feel about this PSU extension cable going through like a snake into this particular housing. Maybe we can find a cleaner routing for this particular cable, but does it work? Is the PSU better off at the front? We'll find out in that build video, guys. So if you're not subscribed, make sure to massively smash that subscribe button, because we will be doing a full build in this particular case where we're going to actually share my thoughts and opinions on how easy was it to build in, was the fan configurations the best, what are the temperatures like, and so on and so forth. So make sure not to miss out on that, guys. We'll talk about those SSDs earlier on. You get 2 more in the actual accessory box. This is a really good place if you're wanting to mount even more of these. Then you could actually mount 2 of those on this particular PSU point here as well. It has got an opportunity to mount two 120 or 140mm fans, but we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. So it's a great time to discuss fan and radiator support as well, guys. So at the top, we can put 4 120mm fans. We can also have 3 140mm fans at the front as well, up to a 480mm radiator or all-in-one as well. At the bottom, we've got 4 120mm fans. We can fit 2 140mm fans or up to a 360mm radiator. At the side, 120 or 140s in terms of 2 fans. At the front, you can put 120 fans as well, or 2 140mm fans, and then we can get a 120 or a 140mm fan at the rear as well. So massive amounts of customization here, guys, and in all honesty, it'd be brilliant for a water cooling build as well because of the radiator sizes and stuff like that. In terms of my preference, I think I touched on it previously, but I would personally keep the mesh front, which is just right here. I love this front mesh panel. I would keep these 2 fans at the front as intake. I would have 4 120mm at the bottom as an intake. I'd have a 420 or a 360 all-in-one at the top, and then I would have my 120 as an exhaust at the rear. So we've got potentially 6 intake fans and 5 exhaust fans. I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible here, but as far as this particular bay goes here for the PSU, it does house these 2 fans. I'm not really sure, again, from an airflow perspective, what we're going to achieve from that, because ultimately if I've got 2 fans on here and my PSU's behind the back of it, then we're neither exhausting air or we're not pulling air in. So I'm not quite sure what we're going to achieve there. So again, it must purely be for the aesthetics. What would you guys do? Let me know your opinions down in the comments below. How would you set your fans or radiators up in this? Would you copy me? Would you absolutely disagree? I'd be interested to find out what you guys would do as well. Most people will be interested in clearances as well, guys. So I'm going to walk you through the GPU and also the CPU tower clearances as well, so you've got that information. So in terms of GPU clearance, you've got up to 480mm without the radiator installed and 344mm with the radiator installed. If you're using a CPU tower cooler and not an all-in-one, it's up to 185mm. Yeah, all in all, loads of room, whether you're all-in-one, air or water cooling. So turning our attention to the back, guys, that reveals lots of room for storage. We can already see 3 of these caddies which are pre-installed. These can be easily removed by just undoing the actual thumb screw. Really straightforward, no problems whatsoever. So these will support our 2.5 and 3.5 inch drives as well. So whether you've got SSDs or 3.5 inch hard drives, really straightforward installation with the 4 screws, and then toolless design with those large thumb screws as well. We also have loads of cutouts as well, guys, for other cables at the top for the PSU or EPS connections. Also at the bottom down here, they look relatively well placed for our USB and front I/O connectors. Again, it would have been great to see these with grommets, but we're talking about a £90 case, and so far I'm really liking what we're getting, and I don't think it's bad at all. Now 90% of this case has been designed so it is toolless, guys, so when assembling or disassembling it, or the modularity of the case allows you to do it basically with your fingers and thumbs. I think SaharaGaming have done a really good job, but we've now got down to the point where you're going to need one of these basic screwdrivers. So what we're going to do is turn our attention to our PSU, I don't know really, what do you call it? PSU door, I think. In order to get into this, we need to remove these 3 screws just on the side here. There we go. And as you can see down here, it says open. In actual fact, it is magnetic, guys. So you won't probably need to put that those 3 screws back in place. But our door opens really nicely, and then you've got full access to our PSU compartment, which is at the back here. Personally, I really like having this door, guys. It's optional. I really like it. I think it's going to really help the cable management and to keep all your cables tidy and things like that. But you need to take into consideration the max length of PSU is around 200 millimeters as well. It's 150 in terms of width and around 86 in terms of height. This isn't going to be too bad though, guys, if you're using a modular PSU. And in all honesty, if you're using a non-modular one, but a smaller in terms of 650, you should have plenty of room in here as well. If you've got any cable extensions and large PSUs, it will be fairly tight. You can always remove the door from its hinges using these 2 screws, which are here as well. That will allow you to take advantage of all the additional space in the back, especially if you've not got hard drives or SSDs, because it's a good, I would say, 2.5 centimeters worth of space at the back as well. And number 3, can you see all the cables from the front of the case when you're not mounting fans? I think I'm going to check that out when we do a build, because ultimately, if you're looking straight through there and you're looking at your PSU and all of your cables, it may not be the prettiest thing, but with that glass, and especially with it being tinted, I don't suppose you're going to see them anyway. I really like this particular unit. This can be unscrewed and removed, and I think it's just a nice addition that you can actually do everything, get everything cable managed, get all your cables in, and essentially undo these 2 screws which are on the side here. So that's number 1 and number 2. And then we should be able to just take this out. There we go. Just like that. So then our PSU will screw into the back here. And then once you've done it, you'll be able to just slide it into place like so. And then lock it down, screw it back in. But I think once we've got all these cables out the way, I don't think you're going to have any issues in terms of cable lengths or anything like that. And I think that's a nice addition to have that little compartment there. And at the bottom, one thing that I have really spotted, and I think is a very clever thing to do, is when you're mounting your PSU in there, you're not going to have access to the on-off switch on your PSU. So this particular cutout here is a nice size, and you're going to be able to turn your computer on and off by the PSU as well. We've already discussed the front I/O, guys, but in terms of I/O, we've got our USB Type-C, USB 3.0, we've got our HD audio, and then we've just got our standard front panel connectors, hard drive LEDs, power LEDs, reset, and power switch as well. Last thing to mention is we've also got PSU extension cable. Again, I'm not quite sure on my thoughts and feelings around this, but one thing we can do is we'll just feed this out of the case and we'll see if we can get it routed a little nicer. Very easy. And then what we can do, guys, is you could simply zip tie that up the top up here. We could put our door back on like that. We'll get these 2 screws back in. And again, I really love this. The modularity, the ease, and everything being done very straightforward. We've not got to take off 20 other things in order to get access to most things, which is really good. So you let me know, guys, do you think that is a better way of routing that particular cable? Now we've still got the same length and it's still into the back of here, which will go nicely into our PSU. Our door nicely fits, and Sahara Gaming's obviously thought about that, guys, but I think it just looks a lot nicer. No cable coming down from there through here. Don't think that quite makes sense, but yeah, overall, really like it, guys. Really like it. I'll put this full, massive, thick shroud or filter at the bottom of this case, get that back in place as well. I think what Sahara's done is they've done really well. Everything's made really well. The finishes are all really nice, and overall it just gives you loads and loads of options, which I really like. So one thing that I want to do, guys, and I know that I've already gone through a lot of the benefits and the features of this particular case, but I just want to show you one more which we touched on at the very start, and that's with regards to this GPU bracket at the back. So this allows us to, instead of horizontally mounting our GPU, it allows us to vertically mount it. So I'll go ahead and show you how to do that as well. So it's really, really straightforward. All we've got to do is undo these 4 screws at the back, and it should take us no more than 20 seconds in all honesty. So there's 2, 3, and the last one, number 4. And all we've got to do is, oh, we've missed a screw. 5. There's 5 screws, guys. I can't count. There we go. All we've got to do is lift that up, rotate it 90 degrees, drop it back in place. There we go. And now we've got the opportunity to vertically mount all of our GPU. And the great thing about this, guys, is having these 7 slot covers will allow us plenty of room. As you can see here, we've got at least 1.5 inches, 2 inches. By the time it goes in our second slot here, it's going to probably be 3 inches away from that glass side panel, which is going to allow loads better airflow, and we won't have any issues or any problems with regards to that panel there at all. So really, really straightforward design. I love the fact that, again, it gives the consumer the option to vertically mount or horizontally mount. The only thing that you are going to require is that riser cable, which, if you're not actually paying for an additional bracket, will feel like a steal. So it can't all be great and amazing, guys, and there must be things either I don't like or I think that can be improved. And yes, there is a few things, and I want to share those with you now because I think it's really important when you're doing reviews on these particular products that you get the good, the bad, and the improvements. So there's not many at all though, guys. I think for £90 they've done an astounding job. But the first one is the grommets on these particular side panels here, or the side panel here. I think they're absolutely fantastic. It's just a shame that we haven't got them on the top and bottom there. I think it would give it a little bit more of a premium finish as well, and I think that would, I would think for me, it would really, really sell it, in all honesty. I think that when cases don't have those grommets, well, it tends to be the cheaper ones because of cost savings. So I wish it had had it, but it's not the end of the world. The second thing, guys, is this particular panel at the front here. Not this one, which is on at the minute, but I'll show you if I can get this one off. Ah, there we go. Let's take that one off for a minute. Whoops. But I'm talking about this fan mount here, guys. And wow, the thing that's driving me crazy is this gap up here of a couple of inches, and then we've got ½ an inch or whatever down below. I wish we had 3 120mm fans that would just fit in there perfectly. That would be absolutely creme de la creme, because at the minute I'm thinking, all right, okay, we'll put 2 120mm fans in there, but then I'm going to have this huge gap at the top and a huge gap at the bottom. So ultimately, I don't know whether they can make a different fan mount or something like that. I'm guessing it's because if you put 480mm radiator up the top there, by the time that comes down, it's going to fill that gap. But if you're not using a 480mm radiator, and you're using a 420 or a 360, then you're going to have, especially looking at it from this angle, you're going to have like a couple of inches at the top and bottom, which, yeah, I just think from an aesthetic point of view, they could have nailed it and giving you the option of obviously mounting 3 120mm fans at the front. So not the end of the world. Again, I guess that these are improvements that could come on version 2 of the P480. And at the end of the day, guys, it's all positive feedback, because I'm really, really enjoying the aesthetics of this case, the materials they've used on it, and in all honesty, the minimal changes that could make it just another level. Not to keep harping on about this front panel here, guys, as well, but I'll just quickly take it out. It's very, very easily done. If you don't want this in the front of the case, it's literally just these 2 screws at the front here. But essentially what I'm getting at, and I'll show you very, very quickly, is the fan mounting holes. So top and bottom here, if we've got that glass side panel on and that goes into here like so, okay, it doesn't matter because you're not going to get any airflow through glass, so it's not going to do it. It's just going to be there for aesthetics. But in terms of mounting the actual fans themselves, let's have a quick look. I just tried it with a couple of Leon Lee fans, but if you were to mount two individual fans separately, you won't have any issues whatsoever. But if you're looking to mount the uni fans that actually slide together, for instance, you're going to have a large issue because they don't line up with these particular holes. Now, I don't quite understand that because on the top, the bottom, the back, they've actually given you enlarged holes which can slide forwards and backwards. So Sahara fixed that, and that will allow greater compatibility with a whole host of different fans, which I think would be a much better option as well. I like the fact that Sahara's done something slightly different and a little bit more radical, moving the PSU to the back, giving you this extension cable, allowing something totally different that we've not seen. But what that does is cause a few issues in itself, guys. So again, you can mount your SSDs or hard drives here. If you're going to do that, they have given you the cutouts to be able to do that, so cable management should look on point. If you're going to be mounting fans here, again, you can route your cables through here. Again, from my opinion, it's purely going to be from an aesthetics point of view. It's not going to really help you from a temperature point of view or from an airflow perspective, guys, because ultimately, whilst the side panel has got all that large perforation down the side, you're going to have your PSU and a shed ton of cables in this particular housing here. So whilst I think it's a good idea, I'm trying to open that and I've put the screws back in the side, having the cage on here, it will make the builds look absolutely fantastic. From an airflow perspective, I don't think it's going to help at all, in all honesty. The other thing to note is, if you look through there, having that PSU shroud at the front here, or PSU base at the front here, it offsets the front of the case, so it makes it much wider. Now, you've got no issues with regards to your GPUs, like I said, 480mm I think it was. So you've got no issues whatsoever there. But just when you're looking through here, I'd rather have it much flatter at the front than I do at the back. Give me a little bit more, or take away a little bit more room back here, but then I'm guessing that then causes issues with regards to the GPU, horizontal mounting and pushing it close to the glass. So it's a little bit here and a little bit there, guys. And I think with a £90 case, you can whinge, moan, you can pick fault with everything, yeah? But I think Sahara Gaming's done a really, really good job. There's little niggles here and there that I think could be potentially looked at. Can you give me a blanking plate for that? So if I'm not going to be mounting fans and I'm not putting SSDs or anything, I don't really want to see all the cables and stuff like that. Could it be an accessory like the front panel? Do you give us an option to buy that as a total separate piece rather than just a whole case? Can we build, or can you actually provide us with a panel that can cover all that up? Very thin, just a cover. Don't know. But again, could be an optional extra for the cost of an extra £1. Could they include it, etc., etc. So no, I think for what you get included in the case, guys, the options that it brings you, I don't think you can go wrong. So to summarize, I think Sahara Gaming's done a great job, guys. They've created a good looking case that's feature packed, bringing the consumer lots of benefits, not to mention options around customization and modularity at a very competitive price point. Few areas for improvements, but that's not always a bad thing, as the V2 model could be even better. I'd like to say a massive thank you to Sahara Gaming for sending this out for review. and full autonomy over my opinions, which really matters to me and to obviously you guys as well. I'm hoping this is going to be one of many cases from them we can look forward to seeing on the actual channel as well. If you're interested in picking up this particular case and it's caught your attention, then all the details will be down listed below in the description as well, along with a link to Sahara Gaming's website where you can check out their other products on offer as well. So guys, I'm hoping that you've enjoyed the video. I'm hoping that it's not going to be a long time before I get to build in this particular video as well, or in this particular case as well. So if you're interested in that, make sure to get subscribed so you don't miss out. I plan on doing a build in this in, I would say, a couple of weeks time as well. We'll do a full step-by-step build guide in it. We'll test out the temperatures, and it's a different experience when you're actually building in one to actually doing an overview. So hopefully you'll stay tuned for that one as well. So is the P480 a case that you'd consider? I definitely would. At this price point, I don't think you can go wrong. I'd love to hear your comments and feedback in the comments section below. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to see more reviews just like this one. Enjoy your weekend. All the very best.